Hello friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm creating for Authentique Paper and I'm using their all new Splendor collection. This is an absolutely gorgeous fall and Thanksgiving theme collection with most beautiful pattern papers, warm rich colors, and gorgeous vintagey images. So stick with me and we'll make this card together. Okay, here is that Splendor collection from Authentique Paper. I've just brought down the 6x6 paper pad because it's a little bit easier to flip through, but I am using a combination of this as well as the 12x12 pattern papers. So this is a beautiful fall theme collection with some nice rich warm colors. This is kind of a new bluey color, kind of cornflower, and that is the inspiration for my card today. But she has lots of beautiful patterns here as well as vintage images. I'm gonna use the die cut sheet as well for my focal image, and so what I wanted to do was create a sort of faux shaker card. And so what I've done was I took that beautiful plaid and die cut that with an inside scallop edge rectangle. Has a little bit of stitching detail on it, and normally what you would do is include your clear acetate and then fill it with sequins, but what I want to do is just use this as a beautiful frame for the focal image. So what I did was I added this to that double-sided foam adhesive, and I've put it right up to the edge there so that I would get a good finished edge. So normally when I layer my patterns and my cardstock, I do want to work from the top down so that I can get everything centered very well. And this is going to be the case here because if I don't get this on exactly straight, I will be able to trim this paper before I add it to the next layer. So here's a smaller piece from the 6x6 paper pad, and I really like that it's going to work as a neutral. So I'm going to very carefully add this to the corner and get it lined up as best I can. So really what I'm doing is I am adding a great amount of depth from that spacer, and that gives me a little bit of a frame to include my focal images. So see what I did was I didn't get it quite exactly straight. So now I can come back in now and just clip that off so I don't have to worry about fitting it onto next border. Okay, so now we're going just with regular adhesive tape. So I'm using a double matting for this card, and for my first layer, this is the Mustard Seed Spectrum cardstock. This is also from Authentique Paper, and then I'm just layering that over a like chocolatey brown so that I can bring a little bit of the color from the plaid, and then the darker color really helps to anchor it together. So here is my frame, and I'm just going to pull this off camera so that I can get this perfectly straight without you guys having to see my head in the frame. So here's my card base, and I've got just a regular standard 5x6.5 inch base. I've got it set up as a landscape profile so that I'll have room for all of my layering and embellishments. I finished the inside with the coordinating pattern paper, and I'm just going to cover the top with that beautiful sunflower pattern and the double matting. You can imagine how thick and sturdy this is starting to be with all of these paper layers. So next is going to be my frame. I've just got that right in the center. I love the dimension that that foam is giving. So for my focal image, I picked one of the images from the die cut sheet, and I've added a clip. This is just a small Tim Holtz clip to that. I put foam spacers on one side so that I could build dimension, and then just regular adhesive tape on the top. And so what I want to do is just add this here. It's a little bit higher than center. And I've got a couple other elements from that die cut sheet. So here's a small heart, and then a portion of one of the sentiments. So I'm going to get more mileage out of it this way because I cut the words apart, and then I put foam spacer on one side only because it will hang off of the more dimensional piece. And so what I want to do is just kind of tuck that little heart in. It's just meant to be a layering piece, and then top it with this sentiment. I don't want to cover too much of that pumpkin, And so that will be my focal image in the center. Now what I've got is a fairly large flower arrangement. Pull some Little Birdie Crafts flowers and leaves, and then paired them with some beautiful trims from Really Reasonable Ribbon. And this just has a little gold edge, so it's sort of a little bit more festive for the holiday. And then I've got this at quite a sharp angle because I'm going to follow the edge of that frame, and that bow on the bottom will soften that up a little bit. So you can see I've got just enough room for my sentiment. I'm just fixing this down with a little bit of hot glue. I've got a couple of charms here, and so it's just a leaf and then a fall pumpkin. It's not like a jack-o'-lantern, and I'm just going to add these right here to this corner. I'm going to create a little balance for this larger arrangement at the bottom. Then I'm hiding those strings with a second bow that I have tied here with some more twine and a small vintage button. And then last but not least, I have some kind of coppery colored sequins, and I'm going to add those here on the top and the bottom. So we are in mid-Michigan, and we have the most amazing falls here. It usually is such a relief to be done with our hot, humid summers, and we get that cool, crisp air and the beautiful changing of leaves. We also have a lot of apple orchards, and so we tend to enjoy a lot of cider and donuts and going to the U-Picks and picking bushels of apples. So it's kind of a seasonal tradition to go and get outside and enjoy the cooler weather and the changing of the season. You can let me know in the comments where you all are from and what holiday traditions you have for Thanksgiving. I know most of my family lives in Tomball, Texas, and they do not have any actual fall. It's just a little cooler, but it's always pretty much hot and then just less hot. So let me know in the comments where you are from and what your holiday traditions are. Okay, that is going to do it for my blessed greeting card created with the Splendor collection from Authentique Paper. If you check in the description below, you will find a link to this collection as well as to Really Reasonable Ribbon for my trims. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. And if you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.